Well, last season we won the Premier League on the last day. We won the Europa League, which I completely forgot to record. I'm never ever going to live that down. If you guys don't forgive me, I know I certainly won't. We had a lot of money to spend this offseason, but I'd like to think I was disciplined. I didn't spend a lot, but when you see how much I had to spend and what I did spend, yeah, maybe it was. Today, it's the Charity Shield game against Chelsea. And with this, the last season of the Palace March is underway. My name's FM19, and this is the Palace March, episode 63. Now, I'll be the first person to admit, I don't remember my transfer budget being that big at the end of the season. I remember having around £110 million. And then my budget was 124. And unless they added those together, which I don't think they do, somehow I got an increase that I absolutely missed. My original transfer budget at the start of the transfer window was £211 million, which these days will get you Kylian Mbappe. No, we didn't sign Kylian Mbappe. We were, however, pretty active. I'm going to sort this by fees here. Phil Weaver, Richard Johnson, Louis Alexandre, Benjamin Rainier, Sam Robinson, Tom Norton-Ram, Dale Askew, Ben Beachy all went out on loan. They have at least 50% of their salary covered if they're playing and 100% of their salary if they're not. Leandro Fernandez came to me and asked for more playing time. And I said, yeah, I'm willing to bring you on as a backup. And he was happy with it. And then Verona came in and made an unsolicited loan offer for him with a £24 million optional fee. Yeah, £24.22 million future fee, which I think they'll probably accept. He's too versatile for them not to. Leverkusen, for some reason, wanted Mario Pereira, so he is off to them on loan as well. Again, 50% of his salary is covered, 100% if he's not starting. Tommy Curry left for Ipswich Town on a free. Pedro Giustiano went to Ascoli on a free. Nikolai Horter went to Middlesbrough on a free. Curry and Horter were youth players I brought in hoping to develop, and they never did. Giustiano was kind of lost in the noise. Fleetwood paid £16.25 thousand for Henry Lawrence. Not quite sure why, but okay. Laurent Costa went to Notts County for £350,000. Calvin Grimmett went out on loan to Norwich last year, and then they had a future transfer fee of $1.2 million, so he ended up staying in Norwich. Sergio Rico went to Leicester for £5.75 million. There were more than a few teams that were after him, and Leicester's where he chose to go. Haidor, who I brought in, oh good grief, he was probably one of the first youth players I brought in, if I remember correctly. No, he's only 20 years old. He can't have brought him in that early. No, I brought him in 3 years ago. I brought him in as a 17-year-old for £5 million. And that was right before Brexit finally went through, if I remember correctly. That or I screwed up and he only got a youth work permit. So he ended up going on loan to Tenerife, then on loan to Bahia, I want to say. Then on loan to Seattle. Was solid if unspectacular. Came back. I tried training him as a midfielder. It really didn't take. He got one start for us as a midfielder. And I don't play advanced midfielders, and that's what he is. The one time I did play him, I played the 4-4-2 narrow diamond, and that was the only start he got, and he was pretty unspectacular in that. I put him out there for transfer. Fulham snapped him up for £6.75 million. As I paid £5 million for him, I made a little money on him. I'm okay with that. Daniel Lamarty, he fell half a star. He was 2.5-star potential ability, 2.5-star current ability. I put him out there for transfer. Wolves snapped him up for £26 million, which... they said he was valued at 28. I think they were overvaluing him. But £26 million for a guy, I want to say I brought in for next to nothing. I can't remember if I paid for him or not. No, I paid £9 million for him. Chelsea bought him from Burnley for £25 million. They loaned him out to Newcastle, and then they turned around and sold him for £9, and I sold him on the Wolves for £26. So somehow in the course of his career, he has been sold for £82 million. On the ins, Sindri Thomason is a youth player my scout found in Iceland. He's grayed out, 2.5-star current ability, 2.5-star potential ability. He's a youth player. He's here on the youth teams. Jose Correa comes to us from Braga. With Marty leaving, I wanted a defensive right back who could swap out with Sablick, and Correa was the best available. They initially didn't want to sell him. I made an offer they couldn't refuse. 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. Really good wingback. That's what I'm playing him as. He and Sablik are going to be switching out, and more often than not, he's going to be getting the starts. Sablik has topped out, I think. I don't think he's going to get any better. Pretty good physicals. The balance of 10 is his lowest. That's okay. That is definitely improving, though. The mentals are nice. I really love the 17 decision making, the 16 determination. The bravery of 13 is pretty good as well. The aggression of 8, it could be a little bit on the low side for this position, but everything else is great. The off the ball, the positioning, the teamwork, the work rate. You know, they're higher than 10, which is something I was looking for, and they can all be improved. Technically, he's not bad. He's really good where it counts. The 10 crossing could be improved. The 11 first touch is nice. 15 marking, 11 tackling is pretty good. Well, the 8 techniques are a little bit on the low side, but that's actually what I'm training him on now. He's actually gone up at least a point since he got here, and that was just in the preseason. Juanjo Suarez is another one of those youth players, a striker from Spain. 2.5-star potential ability, 2.5-star current ability, although those are grayed out. Yeah, I brought him on because he has potential. You know, he'll spend a year in the under 18s, maybe a year or two on the under 23s. You know, I love the 20 teamwork. I think that's the one thing that stood out to me. I brought him on specifically for that. His technicals, yeah, they could be better. His physicals could be better too. You know, for pressing forward, you think he'd have better marking and better tackling. You know, but if he improves, I'm reasonably sure I can sell him on for a little bit of cash. Alessandro Corti is the big signing of the offseason, and I could really... Part of me is impressed by Atlanta's director of football or general manager, or whoever's responsible for negotiating their contracts. He was transfer listed by request, and he is one of the best young midfielders in the game. I'd have him on my short list for the longest time, but I was never going to spend a ton of money for him. I don't know what it is with Italy and midfielders this game, but with, you know, Tonali and Corti, who is a regen, Tonali's not, but for whatever reason, Italy has just been producing some really good midfielders. His physicals are phenomenal. 19 acceleration, 18 balance, 20 pace, 17 stamina. The mentals are nice where they count. The 19 decision making, 16 determination, the 14 off the ball, 16 vision, 14 work rate are great. The bravery and aggression, they're adequate. The technicals, they're very good where they count. 12 dribbling, 14 first touch, 12 long shots, 13 marking. Now, the 9 tackling is a bit on the low side, but I can train that up. 13 passing, 13 technique, that can be trained up too. Natural Mazzala, natural roaming playmaker, natural deep lying playmaker. He's probably going to supplant Tonali, the deep lying playmaker. Tonali's going to move out to either box-to-box midfielder or ball-winning midfielder, or maybe Carolero. I haven't decided yet. If not, Tonali will stay as a deep lying playmaker, and he'll play Mazzala. 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability, 19 years old. Comes in the equivalent of Tonali already. Atlanta wanted $41.5 million for him, straight up. I went back and I said, look, here's $25 million up front, here's $15 million in future payments, and then appearance fees for 5, 10, and 20 international appearances, and then goals and a 25% sell-on fee. And in the end, they were going to be making about $48.5 million, and they refused it. And I was like, really? Okay, so I upped the initial offer from 25 to 30 and lower the monthly payments to equal out. I was going to pay about $48 million, and they refused that. And I was finally like, okay, I've got this £211 million transfer budget. I made a straight up offer for $45 million, and they jumped all over it. So they must be in some sort of financial difficulty. I don't know if this will tell me. No, just tells me their estimated value $255 million. Their owner, they're rich, so I don't know why they felt they needed that money right away. Did they? Yeah, I don't know what the heck they're doing, other than maybe they're trying to cover these loan fees for some of these players they brought in. Now they're paying $275. Now they're paying £500,000 a month in loan fees alone. But he steps in. He will be part of the midfield rotation. Honor Thorvardsson. I'm almost positive that's the for Thor. The D I'm not quite sure of. Another Icelandic player my scout found. Defensive right back, 2-star potential ability, 2.5-star grade out current ability, 18 years old. I brought him on just because I thought he had potential. My scouts at one point in time thought he was a 3.5-star player. They're telling me he's 2 stars now. I don't think I'm losing anything. He's here on a free. If he improves, I'm positive I can sell him on for a little bit of money. I love that he's professional. His physicals are okay. His mentals, they need a little bit of improvement, but that's what we're here for. All told, we spent $58 million and we sold $40 million, so we're in the negative there. The only player I'm really kind of concerned about losing, believe it or not, is Leandro Fernandez, because he was just so versatile on the midfield line. Deep line playmaker, Mazzala, advanced playmaker, box-to-box midfielder, central midfielder. The only role he really didn't excel at was ball-winning midfielder. And he was a natural defensive midfielder as well, the deep line playmaker position. I think we'll be okay without him, especially with Conti coming in or Cordy rather. I keep wanting to call him Conti. With Cordy coming in, because the midfield is going to be Fagner, Tonali, and Cordy, and Luis will be the super sub coming off the bench. But Nasser's still here. We can just go to the roster for crying out loud. But Nasser's still here. I could be a little thin in the midfield position. We'll have to see. I've got Anthony Lamb, who's a 19-year-old with some potential. I've also got Tony Calker, my 16-year-old from the youth intake last year with some potential. I could start him in cup games. I'd be okay with that. I got a couple other players I could start as well if I had to. So I think, we've got a week to go on the transfer window still. I'll keep my eyes out, see if anybody pops up. I got Jeff, too. Jeff Dick. We'll see. Brett Sayers is probably going out on loan to QPR. Phil Weaver is going out on loan to any one of numerous teams. Other than that, I think we are set for the season. So we've got a couple days to go before the game. Actually, no, we're playing Chelsea today in the Charity Shield. So I'm going to forward that, set the best 11, and we're going to come back with that match in just a bit. We did play a preseason. I can show you that. Our training camp was over in China. The last day we were there, we played Jiangsu Suning and won that game 2-1. Fagner and Vasiliou, who is a very good young defensive left back from Cyprus. He's got potential. 2-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability, and I, like a complete numpty, signed him to a youth contract that's only paying him £3,300 a week. Or rather, £3,000 a week. The problem with that is it's not £8,000 a week. If I was paying him £8,000 a week, he'd qualify for a regular permit, and I could slot him into the rotation at the defensive left back position. Instead, he's on a youth contract. He's on a youth work permit, which means he can play the under 23 and under 18 games and the cup games. He can't start any Premier League games, which is really kind of a bummer, but I've got no one but myself to blame for that. We beat Wolves 1-0 on a very nice Leandro Fernandez goal. We absolutely thumped Luton Town 4-0. Crew held us to a draw, but I played almost a fully rotated side there. That was nothing but under 23 and under 18 players. And frankly, I was experimenting with another skin that was I used in the FM19 series I did. It was the Nocturno skin. If you go in and you edit the config file, you can load it into FM19. And for the most part, it works well, except in two areas, tactics and training. And I fired that up and tried playing a game with it. And I thought, I'm just missing where the players play on the tactics screen. And then I got into the game and realized I can't make any tactical changes. It was annoying as heck. And Crew, they drew. And frankly, it was a friendly, so I wasn't too worried about it. We thumped Bromley 6-1. Got a lot of guys, got a lot of goals there. We played Borussia Mönchengladbach. They actually brought about 3,000 fans. It was a full-up stadium. We beat them 2-0. Tonali and Mayoral with goals. And then we played West Ham right before the season started. Full-up stadium there as well, and we beat them 3-1. Raul, Brett Sayers, and Alessandro Corte had a penalty kick for the goals. We're playing Chelsea, and then we'll come back for the Super Cup against Bayern. And then after that, it's going to be the group stages. I don't know that I'm going to be playing a lot of Premier League games this last season. I probably won't be playing any mid or lower table teams unless it comes at the right break. More often than not, it's probably just going to be the Champions League games or the League Cup games. The board expect us to qualify for the Champions League. I told them we'd reach the quarterfinals and reach the semifinals in the FA Cup. They're not concerned about the League Cup, and I don't know what this is. It's the Charity Shield. That's a really bad font for that, but that's okay. They're worried about Champions League football. I'm worried about Champions League football too. The goal this season is to win the Champions League. We are 7-1 favorites to win the league, and William Gubbles is the 4th favorite to be the highest score. Matter of fact, I don't know that I can pull any of that up. Oh, as I scroll by here, so Christoph Janker came up as a coaching candidate, and he wanted to be my under-23s manager. I said, yeah, sure. And literally, the next day, I had a coaching slot open, and my recommendation was sign your under-23 coach to be your next coach. And I thought, you know what? I want to move him out anyways, so I signed him to be a coach for the senior squad, and he jumped all over it. I figured I'd keep him for a year, then let him go. In between him accepting his contract to be the coach, Janker accepted his contract to be the under-23 manager. So I had to sack Gill and pay him £190,000 to get him to leave. He accepted the coach contract, but I think because I sacked him, that went on the buy. So I literally paid £190,000 for him to leave, which I'm okay with. He's a solid youth coach. He's one of those coaches, Gill that is, who doesn't excel in any one area. He's one of those coaches you'd love to have on a squad where you're limited in the number of coaches you have, because he does everything pretty well. So I'm going to set the best 11. We are going to get this Charity Shield game against Chelsea underway. Now the question is, are they going to play a rotated side? Do I play a rotated side? You know what? I'll have to think that over, and we'll be back with that match in just a bit. Well, and this is the team we're playing today. Our 4-3-3 with Neck in goal, Centellas, Mepham, Faraz, and Correa as the defensive back four, Corey, Tonali, and Fagner as the midfield three, Nketiah, Ricci, and Mayoral up top as the strikers. Gubble is on international duty. It may be the Olympics, I'm not quite sure. Bosankic and Sablik just came back from international duty as well, and they are both, well, I think Bosankic's like at 82%. Yeah, it looks like they're playing their full squad. Betancourt to Morata. Kickoff highlights are never good. He holds it up to Ekman on the right, crosses it in, knocked away by Mepham to Tonali, sends it up to Mayoral, all the way out to Nketiah on the left. He crosses it in, reaches there, and he scores. I am hoping for a big season from him this year. I think this is a year he really kind of grows into his own. I'm planning on switching him and Gubbles back and forth at the advanced forward in the complete forward position up top there. But he ended last season really well, and I'm hoping he picks up where he left off. Kickoff highlight again. Christensen to Morata. Back to Ekman. All the way out to Masuaku to Goretzka. To Masuaku. He drives forward, and Neca with a nice block. Oddly enough, PSG did not make any offers for Neca this offseason. He's still wanted there, but I think that huge release clause I put on there is what's holding them back. Skriniar to Betancourt. To Masuaku. To Goretzka. To Betancourt. Out to Ekman. He drives towards the center. Faraz not dispossesses him. Up to Nketiah. Tonali sends it up. Well, and that's the highlight. Masuaku with the throw-in to Goretzka. To Betancourt. Out to Ekman, who's all alone on the right. To Betancourt, to Goretzka. Back to Betancourt. Over to Morata. He drives forward, loses the ball. Mepham. To Centellas. Back to Mepham. To Tonali. Back to Mepham. Boot it long, dude. There you go. Christensen knocks it down, but Ricci's there, and his pass bounces off a Chelsea player. That was not good, Jacopo. Ekman has the ball, driving forward, back to Murata. And he bounces his pass off of, who's the number 6? I don't know the number 6. Mayoral and Borja. Yes. I started another test save for a friend I'm helping, What the Fort Gaming. She's got her Made Up Nation Azerbaijan ready to go, and I'm testing it for her, and I'm playing a club there, and I bought Borja Mayoral because why wouldn't I? Praise the boys here, and Borja's overwhelmed by it. That's not good. Neka, goal kick. Up in the crowd towards Borja. Too far. Skriniar's there. Knocks it to Rodrigo. Over to Betancourt. Out to Masuaku. Drives forward. Splits the defenders. Over to Murata, but that pass was way too hard. Centellas knocks it away up to Niketia. He passes it up into space. Can Ricci get there? He can. He holds it up. Crosses it in. Borja off the post. Off Kurzawa and in. Yeah, they'd count that as an own goal. I would have to count it as an own goal too. Okay. Nice job by Ricci getting there. Kurzawa didn't even try to block that. Okay. Halftime, 3-0 us. Ricci, a first-minute goal. Borja, a 16-minute goal. Kurzawa had an own goal in the 36th minute off the Mayoral miss that hit the post. Chelsea's had 9 shots, 3 on target up. Okay, possession advantage. We've had 4 shots, 3 on target. 2 clear-cut chances to their 1. Oh, almost half of Chelsea's shots have been from distance. So that's the one thing that is helping us. Yeah, we're about 60 minutes in, and there have not been any highlights this second half. However, Fagner's going to come off, and Luis is going to come on. Tonali's going to come off, and Jeff's going to come on. We're going to save the last sub there. Something tells me as many highlights as there were the first half, we're not going to see hardly any the second half. Masuaku to Goretzka on the throw-in, or to Hazard or Rodrigo to Betancourt. And, well, they got... Okay, they're calling that a Betancourt goal, but it obviously bounced off Neka before it went in. Okay, no, it didn't. That's a 2D thing. It hit the post and went above his head. Kurzawa, goal kick. Into the crowd. Not too long. Mepham's there. Heads it up to Cordy. Knocked away to Hazard. Rodrigo drives forward. Arpaz. Well, he's offsides. Celebrate a little bit too early. He wasn't offsides. Got lucky there. Well, you know you're deep when you can bring on DeLitt as a sub in the 80th minute. Now we're going to be Manning on for Borja. I thought about loaning Manning out again, but I think he will be our 5th striker this year. Masuaku to Barnes, knocked away. And that is the game. Well done, boys. A 3-1 victory against a really good Chelsea team. That was a solid performance. 9 shots, 6 on target. Now, they had the possession advantage, but it really didn't help them. We were much more technical in front of the goal than they were. They had an awful lot of long shots. Half their shots were from distance. And they only had the 1 clear-cut chance. We had 2 clear-cut chances, 2 half chances. The forward saw us through. Betancourt had a solid game for them, but this is a good way to start the season off. Luciano Spalletti, it's not a name I recognize, but he's obviously a coach of some quality, is the Italy coach. And last season, he spent as much time as he could watching Tonali and Ricci play. And now he's watching Cordy too. So it's quite possible during international duty, 3 of my best players are going to be playing for Italy, which is, honestly, it's fine. They're quality players. You know, Ricci's got 1 cap at the senior level already. Tonali's got 12. I'm not going to say he's a fixture there, but he should be. Cordy has 19 under 21 caps, but the fact that Spalletti's looking at him tells me he will be there soon. Let me check something out here real quick. Yeah, Gubbles is at the Olympics. 2 appearances, 1 off the bench, 1 goal. And then he's also in the European Football Championship. I have no idea what that is. I don't know. Answers below. Is this a real name fix issue? Because I don't recognize this, to be honest with you. That could also be the fact that, I'm American, and my knowledge of European football is at best a couple PowerPoint slides deep on most things. So next up is going to be the Super Cup against Bayern Munich, and then we should know who we're playing in the Champions League group stage by then. If not, I'll definitely record that draw, and then we'll come back for the first of that game, depending on who it is. That said, the season is off to a really good start. We need a start like we got last season. We're going to stumble at some point. And what helped us along last season was the fact that when we did stumble, we were so high up the table, it didn't really matter. I'd like to not win the league on the last day of the season this year. I'd like to try and have it wrapped up before then. But, both Manchester teams, Chelsea, Liverpool, maybe Arsenal, maybe Everton, maybe Wolves even. Wolves finished 8th last year, 7th last year. No, 8th. Darn it, now I got to check. 8th. Could come in and do their level best to keep us from getting that. That said, I think it's going to be a fun final year. We've got a lot of young players. We've got a lot of quality players. We have depth this time. So hopefully, near the end of the season this year, if we are playing, 8 games or 6 games in 18 days, I won't have to send my players on holiday for 2 weeks during the offseason just so they can recover. A fabulous start at Chelsea's been the one team we haven't been able to beat all that often. We don't have a winning record against them. I think this pulls us even in terms of wins and losses. But winning the Charity Shield is a nice way to start the season off. If you liked what you seen or heard, please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel for more content. Questions, criticisms, comments, leave them down below. I'll answer those as fast as I can. My name is FM19. I thank you for watching.